So, after you feel confident about the knit stitch, feel free to try the purl stitch. The purl stitch is a little more complicated, primarily because you haven't done it yet, and also because the hand motions are very, very, very different from the purl stitch. So when I was first learning how to do the purl stitch, it felt like I was going to drop every single stitch. So every single stitch was uh, wrenched really tight, and I dropped a ton of stitches, so that feeling was not completely unfounded. So the very first thing is the yarn is going to be oriented toward the front, and this is a little trickier when you're first learning because the yarn kind of wants to be in the front, or be in the back. So the yarn sits in the front like this, and instead of going through the front loop from like this to form an X, in which that you normally would do for the knit stitch, you're actually going to come from the front. Still create that X formation. Remember that X formation is very helpful because it gives you a point of reference for where to wrap the yarn around. So you're going to go through the front, going to wrap it around, and again you're still making that counterclockwise movement, and you're going to bring it down and through, just like the knit stitch. So again, going to wrap it around and through, and try to do this without actually looking at the knitting, looking at the video here. So through the front, form that X, wrap it around, carry it through. So a lot of people are right-handed. I am not one of them. I still knit right-handed. However, when I knit, my left hand is engaged a whole lot more than uh, any other video I've ever seen. So I apologize if you see my hand move doing this weird motion. It's not through, I'm not performing some weird magical spell here. It's just my left hand needs to be engaged a little bit more. So while you're learning how to purl, um, you will notice probably that your purl stitch is a little tighter or a little looser. Everyone is different, um, and it is a little tricky to get your purl to be as evenly gauged as your um, knit. So practice makes perfect, but nobody's perfect, so you're kind of screwed. Um, So when you are purling, what you are doing is you're bringing that purl to the front. So remember how I was talking about those little dashes? These are all purls. And that means if you knit one row and purl the other row, all the knits will face one direction, all the purls will face in the other direction. And this becomes really important because many, many, many garments are made with this pattern. So if you knit every row, then what you're doing is called a garter stitch. If you knit one row and alternate between knits and purls every row, you are doing something called stockinette stitch. And I'll show you what it looks like down the road. But most patterns have this. There's very big differences between the garter stitch and the stockinette stitch aside from appearance. So here I just finished the row. And here you can see the beginning of what stockinette actually looks like. So these are your purls from 2 rows ago. Here's the knits, and again, all of these stitches will be identical, hopefully. And as you do it, you'll get more comfortable doing it. So all the purls look like this. You can see that these horizontal dashes are actually closer together than these horizontal dashes. Because there's no knit stitch that is separating them, or there's not a row of knit stitches that are separating them. So you can alternate and practice with stockinette. There's lots of mistakes that will probably happen. Embrace the madness, like I said before, and learn from your mistakes. And if you knitted this row, you would get more stockinette. Pretty common patterns with stockinette is it will not be as stretchy as garter stitches laterally. So, you know, if you pulled it, you would have more give with garter stitch than you would with stockinette stitch. Also, the way that these stitches form are a lot tighter. So as you knit maybe 2 or 3 inches, you'll notice that the ends of your stockinette stitch is actually going to curl um, like this. And it's very weird, and you'll probably think that it's some mistake on your part. It isn't. It's just the nature of the beast. So don't freak out about it. And a lot of that can be fixed with blocking, or if you're knitting it around, or if you create edge stitches of garter. So remember that garter is just knitting every row, so starting every row with a couple of knit stitches regardless of the row you're working on. Will sometimes fix your problem, but it's not always going to happen. So just prepare for that to happen, and I'll show you a couple more rows of what purl will look like.